All right, so shalom. Shabbat shalom, right? The Sabbath just recently ended with the sun going down. And, Lord willing, we're going right back into the Sabbath tomorrow at sundown until Thursday sundown, right? But Lord willing, right? Kind of fell asleep earlier, but I woke up and just, I was studying and whatnot, meditating in the spirit of the lesson come upon me, as I'm in here watching the lesson. Lord willing, want to go in, eventually, Lord willing, the Lord the Spirit lead you to it, right? I'm going to Revelation 16, right? It's like Revelation 6, going into, those hiding the bunk. That's what I wanted to go into, right? Still might touch it throughout this lesson, but, just thinking, just sitting here in the spirit, right? Just hearing the elders, talk about, even them, because Elder Pastor Rum, it's like, Elder Pastor Rumla, he was going into Revelation 16, in his lesson he posted a few days ago, and I was watching and whatnot. It just made me think, man, just because, hearing all the controversy, things and such of how these other camps, are trying to come out and like say all these different tactics and ways of things, basically, trying to turn the faith or something. Let me see, appreciate it real fast. Second Timothy 2:18 says, I'll start verse 16. It says, but shun profane and vain babblings, meaning like, ignore it, reject it, right? For they will increase unto more ungodliness, and their word will eat as though a canker, of whom Hymenaeus and Fertilis, right, who basically say, the resurrection already happened, Yahweh he ain't come back to live you, right? He said, who concerning the truth have erred, saying the resurrection is past already, and overthrow the faith of some, right? It says, well, that's the point right there, overthrow the faith of some, right? And that's the, as the elders and things they've been saying, that's those sellouts, right? That's those sellouts. And in these last days, you're going to see a lot of that. You're going to see a lot of sellouts. You're going to see a lot of, it's crazy. Like, even think about it, I might scroll through TikTok or like scroll through Instagram, they show the reels and whatnot. And I've been seeing a lot more people joke and mention the Hebrew Israelites, right? I've been seeing a lot of people joke and mention it, right? Because now they want to make it a mockery, a fooling thing. Just a while ago they was trying to hold it down, trying to let the word get out. But now they want to make it a mockery, a fooling thing, make you look foolish. Like, oh boy, you a Hebrew Israelite, boy, you crazy. Like, ain't no way you believe that, right? And you see that, but those these groups, they're sellouts, and these people they're delusional. They're caught up in that, as I mentioned before, the Stockholm syndrome. They in love with JC, right? And the scripts tell you, that it just came to my mind, a zeal. They have a zeal of the Most High, but let's go to it. Bear with me, let me see. I know it's in Romans. Excuse the background noise. I'm sitting in the car. Oh yeah, Romans 10:2, right? It says, for I bear them record that they have a zeal of Yahweh, but not according to knowledge, because they don't have the true knowledge of Yahweh SIGH&CRY. And they will never get that true knowledge of Yahweh SIGH&CRY, not right now. They might hear it, they won't be able to understand it, because why? That is a sifting mechanism of Yahweh SIGH&CRY, right? And that was the point of the lesson that I wanted to go into. Right? I definitely still want to touch Revelation 6:16 a little bit on it, right? But the spirit kind of hit me, right? I was sitting there meditating, thinking about it, it hit me because it's all part of sifting. And one of the brothers, he had said something to our group chat the other day, right? It was something about like how much suicides have been going on in South Carolina, and I had to text brothers back. There's a lot of sifting and judgment going out because we're in those last days, right? You can see it. They ain't seem calm and cool right now, right? But you can see, if you have the spirit of SIGH&CRY, you can feel it. Like, you can feel the intensity of things wrapping up, things getting, things getting close to the end and getting close to our salvation, right? Feel the MOT, feel the RFID chip, the MOTB coming very soon, right? And so in these last days, Esau don't want, because how I want to go into Revelation 16 is where Lord willing the spirit to line up, because Esau want this kingdom to last forever, right? Psalms 49:11, right? Let's read that, right? It's all the spirit. No, the Most High, Lord willing. The Most High line it up how it's supposed to, right? Psalms 49:11, right? It says, their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their land after their own name. So their inward thought is that this place continue forever and ever. You know, that's why in Revelation 16, see, Lord willing, like I say, the spirit, right here to lead all to it. Revelation 16, right? Or Revelation 6, right? And I really just get straight to the point within this, right? You know, this talking about the destruction, how, you know, when the destruction hit, the bombs hit, the missiles gonna call that cloud, right? So we'll get straight to the point. Verse 15, right, says, and the kings of the earth, the great men and the rich men and the chief captives and the mighty men and every bondman. Those bondmen are, you know, people gonna be took because they're gonna be the slaves that Esau taking with them, because their inward thought is that their place shall continue forever and ever, right? So they're gonna take the people with them, because they think when the destruction over, they're gonna come out and there's gonna be people who rebuild, you know, their kingdom back up, right? It says that every free man hid themselves in the den and the rocks of the mountains. Right? I gotta know just, you know, that bondman and serves, right, as you see. But you know, right? So they're gonna hide themselves in the mountains. They're gonna hide themselves in, you know, they're gonna hide themselves in the mountain. They're gonna try to, you know, hide from the destruction of Yahweh Shah, right? It says, and he said to the mountains and the rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, of the wrath of the Lamb. You know, they see Yahweh Shah bringing the destruction. They're gonna try to hide from him. But we know Yahweh Shah gonna point them out, right? Hey, yo, they over there, and those gonna be the ones who go into captivity. They're gonna be the ones who rebuild the kingdom, right? Those other heathen, and this was a topic a few months ago as well, about how, you know, everybody ain't gonna die from the destruction, right? Because the ones who survive the other nation of the heathen, they're going to be brought into the kingdom as slaves, right? They're going to be the ones who rebuild the kingdom, right? They're going to be our slaves, right? But the point that I was getting to, right? Esau, their main thing is to find a way to keep the people in delusion, so they can keep their plan going, right? That evil matter. It talks about in Psalm 64, that evil matter, right? That new world order, and that's their main thought. Right? So within this truth going out, because the word is going out now, right? The word is going out, right? What's that precept? What says in Titus, right? The truth which had no fruit. Not in Titus. Let me see. Bear with me. Bear with me. Let me see. I just, matter of fact, I can find it. Bear with me. I can find it this way. Let's see. Let's go to highlights. Right. Bear with me. Let me see. I just want to start moving slow, man. Come on now. Oh, because I'm in the highlights, lucky. Let me see. I really just brought it out the other day. But the point is, like, look, when I look for it real fast while I'm speaking, but, you know, it talks about how, you know, the truth had no fruit, right? You know, how the truth has been hid, right, for so long, but now, you know, it's going out. The word is going out, right? Let's see, bear with me real fast, right? Oh, slacky. Check Ezra 6, and 20 and 28, it says, as for faith, it shall flourish, corruption shall be overcome, and the truth, which has been so long without fruit, shall be declared. And that's what's going on, right? This truth has been declared. As I mentioned, you know, when I started lesson, you know, let's go through TikTok, Instagram, you see a lot of people mentioning Israelites now, the Hebrew Israelites. You know, and these groups, like these groups are sellouts, you know, and you know, these groups are sellouts, and you know, Esau is getting to them, right, to deceive them and trick them, right, to, hey, you know, hey, y'all need to go say this, do this and that, right? Because if this truth, right, once this truth really gather, they elect, which is will, right? Once the truth gather, they know it's over with, they know it's cooked. Boom, things are going to get popping. How about seeing how I said it? So the best thing for you to do right now is to create a delusion, right? To create a chaos, to create a problem, right? To make this truth seem, you know, weird. You a Hebrew Israelite? Oh man, you weird. Or you think like that? That's how you really think? You evil, man. You think you don't have slave things and such, right? But in reality, look how the world been made. Look how this place came about, off the backs of slaves, man. You know, but Esau is trying their best to control that, right? What's there in the seat, right? Job 9:24. What's there in the seat to control the narrative? They're in that seat to control that narrative, right? Let's see. This alright 10, right? And I start at verse 1. It says, a wise judge will instruct his people, and the government of a prudent man is well ordered, right? He said, as the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers. What manner of the man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein, right? So the same way that the people who rule it is, same way that the people that's under him are. Right now we're captives, we're under Esau rule, right? So the way that Esau rules and you know, with his delusion tactics, right? His you know, covering the face of the judges, putting all these things out, you know, Yahweh SIGH&CRY is using that as a sifting mechanism, man. Right? He get them to deceive and trick and fall for Satan devices, but they won't fall for it, right? Because right now, right, he says, it's Amos 9:9, right? He says, for lo, I will command and I will sift the house of Israel among all nations, like as corn is sifted in the sea, yet it's not the least grain fall upon the earth, right? The Most High is sifting the nation of Israel, right? He's getting those hirelings out, man. He getting those ones who's not sincere out. He getting those ones who's not truly in this thing out the way, man. He's getting them out the way because they was never really in this thing for real, right? And the Most High is using them to what? Deceive the 2/3. So those tactics, those ways, those gimmicks, these camps starting to pull, right? Oh, all the nations can be saved, all this and that, and they're gonna deceive those ones who gonna stand behind their leaders and whatnot, right? Because they are the elect, right? Seeing the apostles, seeing the teacher of the truth, right? You know, the sincere teacher of the truth, the 100% truth, right? Start Elder Pastor on down, right? You know, they're gonna, my sheep hear my voice, John chapter 10. They're gonna get away from that. They're gonna come to the right. They're gonna come to the right flock, right? But the point is of how Esau, you know, they use that. They use people like that, man. You know, they love people like that. Right? Because once again, their inward thought is that their house should last forever. Their inward thought is that their place should go on and go on and go on. So they're gonna use those counts, those 2/3, those sellouts, right, to get this. Because once again, the truth is going out, man. The truth is getting out to the world. The truth is getting out to the people. So now they gotta try their best way. Now we got to debunk it. Now we got to make it seem crazy, right? Now we got to show you people that they're evil, right? Now we got to show people that they tripping, right? Matter of fact, what Paul say? To add afflictions to my bond, right? What is that, Philippians? Let me see, Philippians chapter 1, right? And I'm thinking of another precept, Lord willing, I'm gonna pull up my other phone real fast before I read this. Lord willing, bear with me. Lord willing, bear with me. I'm pulling it up real fast. Let me come back to my mind. I got a few. Slocky, how about saying? It just came to my mind, Slocky, right? This Philippians 1, right? It just came to my mind, Proverbs, right? So this Philippians 1, and Start at verse 15. It says, some indeed preach Yahweh even of envy and strife, and some also of goodwill. Because you have the ones who they elect those 144,000 who teaching of goodwill, teaching in the right name Yahweh Shah. But you have the others who teaching envy and strife, right? He said the one who preach of Mashiach, the ones who preach of Mashiach Yahweh Shah of contention, not sincerely, supposed to add affliction to my bond. Because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make it harder, right? And Apostle Gabar, he just did a lesson. Talking about how, in this truth, it's a narrow passage. Those great and vain things, that hard path we're going to have to take, because they're going to try to make it hard. And he was talking about this. Think about El Apostle, they just banned his page for 90 days. Because they're going to try to make it hard. They're going to try to make us look stupid. They're going to try to make us look crazy, right? They're going to try to make us look crazy, right? It says, but the other of love, knowing that I set for defense of the gospel. And that's what we're doing, right? We're defending this gospel, we're defending this faith, right? Because now it's going to get to a point, and this how you know, it's how you know we getting close and close, because this is gonna get to a point to where it ain't gonna be expedient for us to be on the highways and byways no more, right? It's gonna get to a point where they gonna shut down the YouTube. We ain't gonna be the post lesson on YouTube. What's that getting to? The famines of the word, and that's what was one of the things the Yahushua said in the sign. Famines, man. This word ain't gonna be able to go out as much no more. Right now it's been declared, right? Because it's gathering the elect. But you see how now they trying their best to debunk it. At first they tried to hide it. Now they trying their best to debunk it. They're trying to make it their best, make it look crazy, make it look like it ain't nothing. Trying to add afflictions to my bonds, as Paul was saying. Trying to make us look like, oh, but what are they talking about? What are they teaching? Trying to make us look goofy, right? I want to go from there. I want to go to Proverbs. Briefly, I was thinking about. Let's see. The wicked and multiply. Let me see. How about SIGH&CRY? A couple precepts there just hit me. Proverbs 29:16. Right? I'm gonna read this first, and I'm gonna go to First Maccabees. Right? It says Proverbs 29:16. It said, when the wicked are multiplied, transgression increases, but the righteous see they fall. Right? So that's the point. The point is the wicked are multiplied, so the transgression increases, and this is when Esau created this delusion, going all the way back. Let's go to First Maccabees chapter 1. We're going all the way back to when Alexander the Great, when they came and the Greeks came in. Alexander the Greek, man, when they came into power, right? It says the same thing right here. Bear with me. Right here, right? So I started at verse 7, because Alexander, he got sick, right? He got sick. So basically what he did, matter of fact, I started at verse 5, right? It says, after these things he fell sick and perceived that he should die. Wherefore he called his servants, such as were honorable and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them. Well, yeah, he was alive. So basically, you rule this place, and you get this place, you get this place, you get this place. Right? Because he ruled the known world at the time, right? It says, and so Alexander reigned 12 years, then he died, and his servants bare rule everyone in his place. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves, so did their sons after them many years. And the evils were multiplied in the earth. So when they came into rulership, the evils multiplied to the earth. The deceiving, the deception, right? The tricking the people, right? Let's see. Might be 2 Thessalonians 2. Yeah, this 2 Thessalonians 2, right? I started verse 8. That wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Even him whose coming is, and they're talking about Yahushua, even him who's coming after the working of Satan. Who is that? Esau Edom, with all power, because they have the power, right? Signs and lying wonders, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved, right? Because why? They're in that, right? Matter of fact, it says, and for this cause Yahweh shall send them strong delusion that they should believe a lie. And that's what they're doing. They creating that strong delusion. The Most High put them in that delusion, right? So they believe in this lie. They believe in this bullshit that Esau was trying to profess, right? It says they all might be damned who believe not the truth and have pleasure in unrighteousness, man. They're gonna be they deceive, they trick, right? You know, because as I was finna mention, right? So you know the Edomites came to power through Greeks. You know, then the Romans came to power. Then the Romans fell, right? Yeah, you know, then they was bound 1,000 years, right, or whatnot, and they came back into power through the Renaissance, right? The scriptures tell you, Revelation 20, right? Yeah, Revelation 20, how soon as that 1,000 years was up, they went out deceiving the whole world, right? Job 9:24, covered the face of the judge thereof, right? Painting everything as white man, right? This is when they start calling themselves white man and whatnot. Because we understand that we never went by white, black, none of that, right? Esau, Edom. Esau meaning wasted away because they pigment script, and Edom meaning red, right? But point is, right? The point is, right? Understanding the fact of they coming out, they're deceiving the whole world. That's what they blessed with, that cunning, that crafting and cunning, right? More subtle, right? That serpent from the garden, right? And they come out. That's what we get this in NLT. They come out and deceiving and tricking the whole world, having everybody believing in their nonsense, right? Okay, let's see. Let's get this right here, starting at verse 8 again, right? In NLT it says, "The man of the lawlessness will be revealed." That's talking about Esau. "But the Lord Yahushua will slay him with the breath of his mouth and destroy him by the splendor of his coming." Right? Because right now we're prophesying the downfall. We let them know, we teach it to them, and Yahushua is going to come and that physical part. Well, you got to understand spiritual. You got to stay focused, because Esau want to trap your mind. Esau want to control the mind. Esau want to control your narrative. Esau want to control your thought. Right? That's why they're going to put that chip into you, so they can fully control you. Right? And when you go up in the same chapter, it talks about how he exalts himself above anything that is called God. That's what he want to do. Right? He want to be like the Most High. Right? In verse 9 says, "This man will come to do the work of Satan," right? With counterfeit power, man. That's what he has. Esau has that counterfeit power to create that delusion, that narrative, right? And he's using these groups. He's using these groups, these other groups, these sellout groups to trick people. How the hell y'all gonna come out of nowhere and say all the other nations are gonna be saved? You crazy. Revelation 16, after those people after those same ones in those bunkers, you think they finna go up in the chariots? No, they asked the elders made a point to hit me in the spirit, right, deeply, right? It talks about how Revelation 21 says that New Jerusalem, that's, you know, he saw New Jerusalem coming down. Guess what? After that, when the destruction comes and the elect is beamed up, right? The elect, the ones who want to see that first dominion, they're going to be coming down in that holy, in that God, because we're going to be changing the spiritual body. They're going to be coming down in that holy standpoint, right? And that's when the kingdom is going to come. Well, the kingdom going to start when the elect is beamed up. But that's when we're going to come down and we're going to grab them out those bunkers, and they're going to go into captivity and start rebuilding the kingdom. They're going to be burying those bodies of all the dead people laying around, right? You know, ain't no other nations going to be saved or be up to the chariots, man. That don't make sense, right? But verse 9 again says, this man will come do the work of Satan, because they're the physical sons and daughters of Satan, man, right? With counterfeit power and signs and miracles. He will use every kind of evil deception to fool those on their way to destruction, right? He says, because they refuse to love and accept the truth that would save them, right? When Drewski dropped that video, Elder Mata Zakbak, right? He did a lesson. He brought out the precept. You know, he was talking about how David said, you know, this thing is supposed to be for their welfare, like a trap to them. Matter of fact, let me go to that real fast. Let me see. Let's see, it's Psalms. Let's do this so we won't receive any notifications. So this, somebody tried to call or something. This Psalm 69 in verse 22. It says, let that table become a snare before them. A snare is a trap, right? And that which should have been for their welfare, let it become a trap, right? Because why, right? Esau using all these tools, the way he using these sellouts. They're sellouts, man. He using these. This is where they went to go get the good nigga enslaved to go out there and teach Christianity. You know, making everybody believing that all that Christianity shit. What they doing now? And I need you to go out here and mock these people to make these people look crazy, so the people look foolish. People don't want to do that. That won't be cool. That won't be popping in this world. We want people don't to have the mindset that don't want to be Israelite. We want them to want to be YNs. We want them to want to be gangbang, the biggest rapper, the best football player, to have the biggest house, the biggest car. We don't want them thinking about the Hebrew Israelites. So go out and make it look foolish for it. Hey, y'all need to go out and teach that other nations can be saved, so we can call this controversy. Things and such, right? But we understand through the Spirit is what? That's all sifting. And Most High is using these other groups to sift. He's sifting out those bullshitters. He's sifting out those 2/3, man. Right? He said he will use every kind of evil deception to fool those on their way to destruction. That's what they on their way to. Esau gonna use every kind of tool. I told you at first he tries his best to hide it, but he's exposed. So now he guess what he gotta do? He gotta create the narrative again, right? Because he got that counterfeit power now. He got that counterfeit power. What he talks about, right? He got that counterfeit power, you know. And he got those miracles where he can do what now? To control the narrative. Right? He create these things, this technology, all these things. He control the thought. When you search things up, he control what come up. Right? Those elites, they control all that. So they being exposed for they really are. So now we gotta look. They want to say this. Now we gotta make them look crazy. Now we gotta use their camps. We gotta use their people. We gotta use all these things. We gotta use every tool of deception to get these people to look foolish. Right? To fool those on their way to destruction that they refuse to love. He says because they refuse to love and accept the truth that will save them. He says, so Yahweh will cause them to be greatly deceived. That's those 2/3. Most High allowed them to be deceived, man. Right? They will believe these lies. That's what they are. They are all lies. That's why how about y'all say what? Right? You know, 2/3 of people shall be left there in the land. Right? Hosea 4:6 as well. Our people destroy for lack of knowledge. Right? Also, what he say, the spirit of slumber, the spirit of sleep. Most High put that spirit of sleep on them, so they won't be able to maintain, they won't be able to retain or understand this knowledge of understanding. They'll never be able to get it. Why? Because they gross darkness. They walk in that path of darkness with Esau Edom. And Esau Edom would never understand the true knowledge of how about you try to get close to him. See, Jake got opportunity, but guess what? Jake chose the way of what is that, Micah 2, right? Bear with me. Micah 2 and verse 3, right? It says, it's like it. Micah 3 verse 2, it says, you know, this is what Jake do, right? It says, Jake who hate the good and love the evil, right? That's what they do. They hate the good and love the evil, right? Who pluck off their skin from off them and their bones from off their flesh. Because ultimately, when you understand it, America is that big melting pot. The trick to deceive the people, right? The trick to deceive the people to believe in, you know, everybody jerking out their fornication of Babylon, right? So going back to this, finishing this off, right? Verse 12 says, then they will be condemned for enjoying evil rather than believing the truth. Believers should stand firm. And that's what we're doing. We're standing firm because they want to add affliction to our blood to make us look crazy, make us look foolish. But what? We're standing firm, right? And those 2/3, they're going to be condemned. They're going to be judged for enjoying evil. That's what they do. They enjoy it, right? Because that it makes them feel better. Right? It makes life easier for them. It makes life easier for them and their people. Right? As the first Maccabees, when the Greeks came to power in verse 11, which I was finna read, right? Let's go back to that real fast. We'll read verse 11, real fast. 1:11 says, in those days, right, as we read, evil multiplied. Right? Matter of fact, I'll start back at verse 9 and 10 and read on down. It says that after his death, they put all the crown upon themselves, so that their sons, after many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth. And there came out of them a wicked root, Etosius, surnamed Ephias, the son of Etosius, the king who had been in hostage at Rome and had reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men, who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we have departed from them, we have had much sorrow, right? And that's what's gonna get Jake too. When that sorrow and that pain start kicking in, Jake gonna give it to Esau Edom way, right? Even now, we're going through a lot of pain and suffering now. But this, with Jacob's trouble, when things really ramped up, MOTB out, right? When you can't eat, you can't do nothing, you can't do shit, right? Because you're not accustomed or formed to the way of Esau's new world order, right? That's what Jake gonna give up. And you see a lot of Jake doing that now. That's why the Most High is what? He's sifting those 2/3 away right now, man. He's sifting those 2/3 away right now. He's sifting those 2/3 away, right? And he's he's sifting those 2/3 away, and you have Esau Edom out here trying to work their move, right? And that's all the spirit of SIGH&CRY. The spirit of SIGH&CRY is putting the spirit on them to do that, man. Right? Because guess what? Once again, that inward thought is what? That place gonna last forever. So what they gotta do, if we can't hide the truth, now let's make it look dumb. Right? And Lord, that might be the title of the lesson, man. Right? Esau thought, right? If we can't hide the truth, now let's make it look dumb. Right? And they used it by what? They used it all type of tactics. Right? As we read again, what he say? Right? He said he will use every kind of evil deception to fool those on their way to destruction. He'll use every way. So let's get them. Let's go get his people. Let's go get their people. Let's get their celebrities who they look up to, those idols they look up to, the leaders of these groups, leaders of these camps. Let's go get them. Let's trip and deceive them, right? Because Jake love money. Jake love popularity, right? Jake love being in that hierarchy seat, right? That's what Jake so fool said. Jake ain't humble, man. Jake think himself to be something when he is nothing, man, right? So it's easy for Esau to get him because Esau know his pressure point. Esau know how to get him, man, right? So let's see. Lord willing, I really kind of made a point, Lord willing. I know the Spirit's going to kind of grab them together, but, that point is, man, that sifting going out, right? That sifting going out. And those ways and tactics will be, matter of fact, I got a quick closing free, right? Because all those ways and games that Esau play, Lord willing, it ain't going to work on the elect, right? It's Matthew 24 and 24. It says, for there shall arise false Christ, right? And false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, and so much that if it were possible, not it's possible, if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect, right? But nothing can move the elect, right? Let's go to Romans, right? I'll get straight to the point. Let's go to Romans chapter 8, going down to the last verse, in verse 39, right? It said, well, I start verse 38, it says, for I am persuaded that neither death, nor life, nor angels, nor principalities, nor powers, nor things present, nor things to come, nor height, nor depth, nor any other creature shall be able to separate us from the love of Yahweh, which is in Hamashiach our Lord, right? So nothing's going to be able to pull that elect away, right? It's talking about the elect, verse 33, right? Who shall lay anything to the charge of Yahweh's elect, right? It's justified. Nothing's going to pull that elect away from Yahweh. It don't matter all the evil tools that Esau used, trying to deceive the people, it don't matter what they do. It don't matter what these camps come out, right? You see, as soon as these camps drop their bullshit, you see sincere brothers going into lessons defending the truth, getting on them. The sincere brothers of GMS, man. Start with the elders apostles on down, right? And that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna defend the gospel. We're gonna defend the faith, man, right? So Lord willing, right? Her lessons edifying and exalting, right? And I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakakadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and shout out to the whole elect, starting with the 144,000. Shalom.